All right, well, let's get the call started. My name is Darnell Self, and I know there are people dialing in from all across North America today to listen to this information, so it's an honor for me to share this information with you. Someone did it for me years ago, and it certainly changed my life and my future for my family. But I'll preempt by saying this. Not everything's for everybody, not everybody's for everything. And so I'm careful not to ever try to convince people to join, to buy, to like anything that they don't see as a fit for themselves in their future. Oh, no one convinced me. They shared some information with me. I liked it, and I believe you can succeed in anything that you can become passionate about. Otherwise, it's just fleeting satisfaction unless you can become passionate about what you're sharing. And so let me share with you before I get started my background so you know who's doing the speaking today. Again, my name is Darnell Self, born and raised here in Maryland. Probably raised like most of you. My parents taught me to go to school, get some good grades, get out and get a good job, and I did that. Ended up with a degree in public relations. But my challenge was I worked at a mall all the way through college because they allowed me to have flexible hours so I could make extra income while I was in school. But when I graduated, my experience working in retail was paying me about $40,000 a year. But in all the interviews I went on with my degree in public relations, I was offered about $24,000 a year. And so I couldn't afford to take a pay cut from $40,000 to $24,000 just to say I had a job in my degree. And so I didn't. I stayed there at the mall, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. If you ever worked retail, especially in the management capacity, you know my hours. And the weekends are typically the most important time in retail. And so I missed everything that happened in my personal life on the weekends. My kids' sporting events were on the weekends. Birthday parties were typically celebrated on the weekends. Family reunions were on the weekends. And so I seemed to miss everything that happened in my personal life. And so I decided to step out on faith at 25 years old. And, I thought I could succeed and earn extra income right away as an entrepreneur, but that didn't work. I went on this downward spiral fast, trying different home businesses, and some of you have been introduced to a lot of home businesses before, like myself, and so I had this bad taste in my mouth when it came to home businesses. But at 28 years old, so 3 years of economic suffering, if you will, my season of preparation, I call it. So 3 years, from 25 to 28, things were tough for my family. My house was up for foreclosure, my car had been repossessed. Look, I don't say that for anyone to feel sorry for me, but it's a part of my journey. It's a part of my story. So at 28 years old, when a friend of mine introduced me to Legal Shield, the company I'll be sharing with you today, I was a little skeptical, only because I tried some things before that didn't work, and so I was painting this picture with the same brush. But I read a book on wealth. It said the average millionaire in this country, United States of America, gained that wealth after about the 7th or 8th different venture. So I thought to myself, well, I have about 4 more things I can try then. And so I gave Legal Shield a serious shot. Now, I believed in the services. The mission made sense. By the time I turned 32, everything had changed in my life. We were giving away more in missions and ministries and tithing at our church, more than I used to make in an entire year working at my job. My wife walked away from her job at the cable station at the age of 29. She went on maternity leave. We called it eternity leave because she never went back. And so we've been stay-at-home parents for our 4 children for over 15 years, and that's our story. And so let me share with you, just over the next few minutes, a little bit about the company, the vehicle that we chose that's made such a difference for us. And if it makes sense to you and it feels like a fit for you, and not everything is, but if it does, get back with the person who invited you to this call and ask them for more information. And I hope that's fair enough. So let's talk about our company first. Why? Because all you have is your name and your word. You lose that, you lose everything. Look, people are tired of get rich quick. They're tired of the hype. People are looking for something solid. And our company's been around for over 40 years. We started in 1972. We're not looking for validation to see it. I don't say this to be pompous or arrogant. I say this out of confidence because we've got historical data. We have facts to share with you today. And the fact is that we've been around for over 40 years. We've been publicly traded on the NASDAQ, the American Stock Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange. Our company did close to $500 million in revenues last year. That's with a B. You may be thinking, man, how in the world are you all that successful? Well, it's because we're filling such a significant void. In fact, 2 voids. One, the justice system, because we all know the real color of justice is not black, white, or any other color but green. We get as much justice as we can afford, but the average person simply cannot afford $300 an hour for a lawyer. So it's been a justice system most people have been priced out of, a country club we've never had membership to until Legal Shield, because we're leveling the legal playing field for the first time in North America. The second void is the scariest crime, the fastest growing crime, the number 1 consumer complaint category for over a dozen years with the FTC. Is called identity theft. And we have the most viable and robust solution to that crime. We'll talk about that. So let's first talk about our legal plan. What we do is allow people to have access to lawyers instead of the hourly rate, which people can't afford, for one flat monthly fee. If you're anything like me, when I first heard of Legal Shield, I'm thinking I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't break the law. I don't need a legal plan. But I quickly realized that bad things happen to good people too. I mean, good people are treated unfairly and taken advantage of and overcharged for repairs. It happened to me. I took my car to the dealership, and the dealership didn't do what I thought they should do because the truck was fairly new. Now, if I didn't have Legal Shield, I would have never called a lawyer, because to call a lawyer would have cost more than the mechanical problem itself. In other words, I would have waived my checkbook against my rights. But because I had Legal Shield, didn't have to worry about a bill showing up after this consultation. I picked up the phone to find out what my rights were. They asked me a bunch of questions. A lawyer called me back. He said, Mr. Self, this is your lawyer with Legal Shield. And I found out that based on the state in which you bought the truck, the make and model, the particular issue that you're having, based on how long you've had that truck, if they keep it for 3 more days, they have to give you a brand new truck under the lemon law. Now, look, I would have never known that and wouldn't have called a lawyer to find out if I didn't have Legal Shield. Here's my point. If you don't know your rights, you simply don't have any. And so to be able to pick up the phone and talk to a lawyer and get some advice, get some consultation, some direction, and not have to worry about a bill, this is huge. It's never existed before. Okay, so we have lawyers in 49 states, in 4 provinces of Canada. Close to 7,000 lawyers are part of our network, a provider law firm network where you can pick up the phone and we know what type of law firms you're going to connect with. Right? Because we have checks and balances. We have a provider law firm system. We know how long you've been kept on hold. We know how quickly the law firm gets back to you. You've been around for 40 years. So it's awesome to know you're going to get a top-ranked law firm with an average of 19 years of experience assisting you in an area of law that they have expertise in. Here's the reason why my partner, who's a prosecutor down in Miami, says he's in Legal Shield. Now, he's a lawyer. He said, the reason why I love Legal Shield is because, number one, my family members call me all the time asking legal questions I can't answer. And he says, look, every lawyer doesn't know every area of law like every doctor doesn't know every area of medicine. He said, number two, they want me to do it for free, and I've got a job. He says, thirdly, I want to recommend that they call my buddies who are lawyers, my colleagues, but he says they all charge $300 an hour like I do. But now I can recommend that they go to Legal Shield. I know they can afford it, and I know that they're going to get a lawyer that's experienced in that area of law. So even lawyers see the value of owning a Legal Shield membership. Not only are they going to give you advice, they'll write letters, they'll make phone calls on your behalf, and a lawyer writing a letter means a lot more than us writing a letter. They review contracts and documents before you sign your name to them. They'll prepare a last will and testament for you, even a living will. And look, I'm almost embarrassed to say I didn't have a last will and testament. You know, I was young, in my 20s when I started with Legal Shield, but death doesn't have an age attached to it. And when my uncle passed away, my mom and her sisters didn't have to argue about whether they wanted to disconnect him from life support because he had a living will to determine what he wanted. And I've seen siblings no longer speak because they felt like one made the wrong decision for the family. And I'm saying, don't put your family through that. Legal Shield takes away the number one excuse for people not having a last will and testament. We give you one for trying out our service. We also assist you with moving, traffic violation. Even when I got my speeding ticket out of state, I didn't have to go back out of state. I called my law firm in Maryland where I live. They called the firm in that state. They assisted me, and my points were dropped, and my fine was dropped. I thought to myself, now how great is this? It saves you time, and it saves you money. Right? If you have a job or you own a business, your time is your money. So great to have access to something like this all across North America. By the way, I have 2 older sons that drive now. I certainly don't want them to get points on their license because their insurance can go up. So it's great to have them protected under my legal plan as well. We have IRS help, trial defense help. And by the way, anything that falls outside of the 100% coverage, you get a discount on even pre-existing conditions, issues that happen before you even sign up for the service. And we have 24-hour access 7 days a week in emergency situations. Because let's face it, if you're being questioned, detained, or arrested by a law enforcement officer or security personnel, it's not going to help to be rude, right? They're doing their job. But it's important to also exercise your Miranda. The right to remain silent, the right to a lawyer. Most people just remain silent because they don't have a lawyer. Well, now you do. Once you sign up for the service, you can download an app. You can press a button on your phone and have access to your lawyer. This is the reason why my son who's in college has access to this. Look, good kid could be at a party, right place, just wrong time. It makes sense to have this type of peace of mind over your family. Now, these services aren't $300 an hour or even $300 a month, which would be a great value knowing that lawyers charge $300 an hour. So to have that $300 a month be a great value, but not a great budget. So Legal Shield made this less than $1 a day, $19.95 a month. You have access to everything I just went over, and that's the reason why we're growing so fast, right? It's not your dollar or my dollar that makes the big difference, but it's over 1 million people paying $1 a day. When you've got $1 million a day coming into your company as revenues, you can attract the best law firms that money can buy. And again, that's why we're growing so fast. $1 a day, group buying power. We have access to what most people would pay $400 an hour for. We have access to law firms for $19.95 for $1 a day, and you and your entire family are protected. Get back to the person who invites you to this call. They can share with you what you need to do to take advantage of this and protect yourself right away. If you're an individual, meaning you're not married, you don't have kids, you can get it for even a few dollars cheaper than that. All right, so identity theft, fastest growing crime, a scary crime. It's not just financial. It used to be. You just change your checking information, your credit card information, you'd be okay, right? But things have changed. It's a scary crime. It's not going away. Most victims don't even know when they've been victimized. They live with it for years. And so now there's character fraud, medical fraud, motor vehicle fraud, social security fraud, social insurance if you're from Canada. So all these situations take place. Now, all we have to do is talk to our licensed private investigators with Kroll. Kroll is the leading risk management company in the world, not number 2 or number 3, number 1. They do our federal background checks for us. They do the Canadian background checks. They're not only going to monitor and alert you and let you know if someone accesses your information, they're going to go and restore it for you. Here's the differentiator. Here's what makes us different from anyone else in the competitive landscape. Because everyone else just restores, right? Or everyone else just resolves. We're the only one that restores your identity. This is what makes us so different. So to resolve it is great, but to restore it back to the way it was and give you a $5 million service guarantee, we're the only one that does that. And that's ID Shield. We're the oldest new name in the business. We've been around for a long time. Thousands of identities we've already restored before it became popular. And so we know what we're doing. You have a licensed investigator. This is the reason why over 30,000 companies already offer this as a benefit to their employees. Tired of employees taking time off, trying to handle situations they're not proficient in. So it's a great opportunity if you know financial advisors, insurance brokers, or agents, or anyone that has a client base or book of business or employees. A great opportunity to offer this to them. I have colleagues that earn 6 figures a year solely by going into companies. We call it B2B, business to business, protecting that business and also protecting those employees. So great opportunity there as well. So that service is also $19.95 a month. That's it. So both services combined, $39.90. And again, if you're an individual, not married, without any kids, you can get both plans for about $27. What we do is we let people know this exists and we get paid for it. It's as simple as that. I can't believe I get to do this for a living. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. I just stand in the middle of the lawyers who can provide the services and the clients who need the services, and we get paid handsomely for doing it. I just can't believe that a mission like this is so strong and an opportunity for the average person to work from home, not have to worry about traffic. They can be retired at 65 years old and want extra income, but not an extra boss. They can be 18 and 19 years old in college and want extra income, but they don't want a boss to tell them when they can study and when they can't. If they're looking for extra income to control their own time and their working hours, or perhaps they're like me. I just felt like I was called to do something greater than working at the mall. Or maybe you love what you do, but want an additional cash flow on top of your teaching salary, on top of your ministry salary. Here's a great opportunity for the legitimate business, been around for 40 years, with a real service people need. They can't just go up the street and get from their local Walmart or Target or GNC. So a real service they got to come to you to get, or go pay $300 an hour for it. And you get to share it as the middleman, as the liaison, and Legal Shield pays you for it. Anywhere from $100 to over $280 for every recommendation. Think about this. 5 customers at our lower level is $500. Our job is to help you get a check right away so that you have your own testimony. Because my checks don't cash in your account. So you can talk about my income, and yes, we're excited about what's happening for my life. But our job is to help as many people as we can to spread the word, to protect families, and to help them to get paid for doing it. Right? And so what we do is we allow people to have their own Legal Shield business. It's like starting your own franchise with Legal Shield. You're going to get an online tutorial or live training class in your area, no matter where you're calling from, whether it's the islands of Hawaii or whether it's Toronto in Canada or whether it's Miami, Florida. You're going to have a training in your area, live training class, audio tutorial. You're going to have a support system of employees waiting to answer your questions, no matter who introduces you. That way you get to be a part of an infrastructure that's already been existing for 40 years. And so if you know someone out of state, there's no territorial restrictions, you can actually start to build income from all over. Send them a link to a website. They like what they hear. They say, look, I need to get my will done anyway. You get paid the next day. We get paid every day. You also get paid passive income. That means it comes in even when you're not working. I introduced a friend of mine, Mike Hughes. At the time, we didn't know each other that well. Now we're best friends. Well, he delivered mail in Georgetown. When he made $100, he sent me $30. I was excited about that. Guess what? I wanted him to make more. He made $1,000. They paid me about $300, about 30%. He made $100,000 his second year in Legal Shield. They sent me $30,000. Now, of course, he quit the post office. He never made $100,000 a year running from dogs as a postal worker. And I never made $30,000 for something I didn't do. My point is you have an interest in helping others to succeed. That means the person that introduced you to this call wants to see you succeed more than them. That was very different from my job because my boss made more than me. His boss made more than both of us. And if I made too much, I could take their job. But here, you have an interest in seeing the person that introduced you today. You have an interest in seeing them make more, and they have an interest to see you make more. It's a form of reciprocity where we all win together. No one has to lose here. And the person at the bottom can make more than the person at the top. I love that about Legal Shield, and I didn't mind because when I helped 10 people to earn 6 figures a year, plugged into a system that just simply works, well, guess what? 10 people who made 6 figures, they sent us 30,000 times 10 and override, $300,000. My point is this. We didn't make a lot of money because we stepped on others and kept people behind. We made a lot of money because we lifted others up and brought them with us. And meanwhile, we made a huge difference in empowering people with our legal service and our ID Shield. Lastly, we earn residual income. It comes in month after month, year after year for something you did one time. Look, when I stopped working at the mall, they stopped paying me. No residual income. Here, the work I did in my 20s still pays me in my 30s and my 40s. I can be in the stands watching my sons play football, watching my daughter in her dance recital, just hanging out with my oldest son. Guess what? We're earning income even when I'm not working. Even when I'm out of the country. It's called residual income. It comes in year after year for something you did a long time ago. Imagine getting paid 10 years from now for something you did today. That's residual income. That's the real-time freedom I wish upon all of you. To wake up in the morning doing the things you love to do because your money is still paying you from what you used to do. Here's what I want you to do. Get back to the person who invited you to this call. The timing is perfect right now because we have less than 2% market penetration. That means forget about the 197 people that are part of our Millionaires Club. Yes, we've helped a lot of people to earn a lot of income, but don't let that scare you. Once I made my first 100, I said, I bet I could make 1,000. Once I made 1,000, I said, I bet I could make 2. My point is it's relative all the way to the top. And so not everybody believes that they can earn a lot of income. And this is why we have to meet you where you are. Some of you used to making 6 figures. Well, great. Your goal is going to be a lot larger than someone who's used to making $40,000 a year like myself. And so my point is we're going to get you started. We're going to help you get a check. That's our job. And then we're going to allow you to set your goal to go as high as you want, as fast as you want, because Legal Shield, the sky's the limit. Listen, I look forward to working with you all. If I could leave you with one piece of advice, it'd be the piece of advice that my mentor shared with me. He said, Darnell, be careful buying the opinions of others unless you're willing to buy their lifestyle. And I'm so thankful he said that because most of the people that worked at the mall with me who told me, Darnell, man, that'll never work, years later, they were still working at the mall. And if I bought their opinions, I would have bought their lifestyle. So I'm looking forward to working with you all. I'm looking forward to hearing about your testimony, and I'm looking forward to you reaching your goal. God bless you all, and thanks for being on the call today.
Press 1 to listen to this message again.